Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Max Bytes, my mini podcast I do to illuminate and to encourage and hopefully bring some joy to all my followers. How's everybody doing? You know, it's been a while. It's been a few weeks, I think, since I did my last Max Bytes. That's extraordinary. We did a Megabytes though on Premium Day, and it was over 2 hours long. And that's my full-length podcast, and I released it on my YouTube channel. Now, Megabytes is exclusively for members of Maximus Premium, and I engage with all my subscribers in real-time live. If you'd like to join Maximus Premium, and you should, and you could try it out. You could try it out for 25% off this month. Contact Roxy Balboa, the number 1 at gmail.com. You can also DM her on Twitter or Telegram at Roxy_Balboa. And the links are in the description, so you can reach out to her. You can get it, and you really enjoy it. I mean, it's the podcasts are just one feature. The most significant is the fact that I post a lot of original articles and just drop a ton of stuff on Fortress Maximus. That's the private channel for those members. And of course, engage with everybody in a private chat at my garage. You want to hang out with me at my garage? Because Max's garage is the place where we're always discussing. We go all day long in there talking, and we cover every single topic and then some. It's got a lot of fun. So you should join. And now we've just released our newsletter, and Max Tracks is a huge hit. I want to thank everybody for signing up for that. That has been extraordinarily, I can't believe how that has taken off. So it was a lot of work launching it, and I want to say thank you to everyone that subscribed to my newsletter. You get it for free if you're a member of Premium, but if you want to order it a la carte and you want to just subscribe to the newsletter, you can do that. Again, contact Roxy Balboa, the number 1 at gmail.com. She handles all of that. You can actually ask any of the angels and they'll give you the deets on that. That's it. It's a terrific, and thank you so much for the reviews and it as well. I mean, it was a lot of fun putting that together, and you get a lot of original articles in my newsletter. It's, of course, my take on all the top headlines and whatnot. So, but if you're a premium member, you get everything. So it's like everything's thrown in. But anyways, so I hope everybody's doing good. This Bytes is going to be literally, I got a lot of requests for this, Biden Gate, or Biden's Documents Gate, or DocuGate. DocuGate's kind of what I call it myself, but like, what is this all about? But more importantly, where is it going? And I know you guys have been like reading all the news articles on this, and there's so much stuff coming out. It's like there's so many questions. The big 2 questions I get is, why is this happening? And what's it going politically, what's the result going to be? What's the fallout going to be on this? And that's what I'm going to focus on with this Bytes. Well, let me just give you briefly. So apparently there's a bunch of classified documents in multiple stashes that Biden, as vice president, kind of took with him, and it's illegal. They're actually stolen. Technically, they're stolen documents, if we're just being honest. And they seem to be stashed all over the place. And the reason I said 5 is, as of yesterday, there were 5 stashes. Now there's probably more, and there are going to be more coming out. I can just tell you that. But I mean, as of this recording, only 5 that I know of definitively that have been released, or at least mentioned to the news. The funniest set of documents was in his Corvette. I thought that was hilarious, actually, driving around with that. That's the visual I got. But okay, and as of this morning, I don't know if you guys heard about it, I'm sure most of you have, is former Vice President Mike Pence came out, and a week ago he found some documents. I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't know what it is with these guys, but why do they think they can just walk off with stolen documents? Now, here's the thing. It seems like the ratio is 5-1 Democrat to Republican by accidentally walking off with documents that they shouldn't have had. The big thing is that with Biden, right? His documents were all classified. President Trump's had been declassified by him, according to all the reports. And so you've got all these documents being found, right? Now, it's illegal. They're stolen, essentially. We don't know what they entail, what they contain. I'm sure it's something important in some cases. I do believe that it is probably an impeachable offense. We know the Democrats would have impeached Trump for the documents that he took to Mar-a-Lago. I mean, that would, if he was president, they would have definitely impeached him for that. So, is using their rules that they impeach people for phone calls, we could definitely, the House should consider an impeachment inquiry, and they're doing their own investigation that'll lead to an impeachment inquiry. After that, what happens? Well, any number of things can happen, but let me just back up a couple of steps. There are so many investigations that are being set up in the House. Jim Jordan's going to be working nonstop for 2 years because he's in charge of the Judiciary Committee, which is going to be conducting all of these investigations. So he's the overseer. And personally, my interest right now is seeing the investigations into the administration en masse. Okay, I'm not really that interested in acting in pursuing another investigation into the document drama, because there seems to be serious investigations already going on by different agencies. This is so big that they couldn't ignore it. So the question right away that I get is, like, why were these leaked? Well, obviously, we know some of the leaks, or we know the first leaks, and I don't know, maybe you guys don't know this, but I know it, came from inside the Department of Justice. I mean, it was mentioned. So, look, I say this to everybody personally. The person who leaked it and I'm talking about the original leak to CBS, the person who leaked it, okay, either one, did not like Joe Biden and doesn't like him, or two, actually believes in justice. Now, there is some speculation from some people, and I can appreciate these points of view, that, well, they just want to get, Biden out of the way or whatever. This is not the way to do that. Okay. This is Nixonian in its scale, right? You may not like Nixon if you're a Democrat. He just won re-election in a landslide. But why in heaven's name would you, if you were a Republican and not liking Nixon, because they turned on him in 1974, Republicans in the Senate did. That's why he resigned, by the way. Why would you go out of your way to jump ship thinking that Ford would have a better shot at running for re-election against Jimmy Carter or running for election against Jimmy Carter in 1976? I mean, I'm just kind of giving you an analogy there. That's the closest analogy I can come up with, is what happened with Watergate. That would make zero sense. In this case here, extrapolating from that, if the Democrats are pushing their own out because they think Harris has a better shot against Trump or whoever the Republican nominee is, and it's probably going to be Trump, that's insane. Like, that is in the wake of a major scandal that is, I mean, look, there's a reason why his chief of staff is resigning. This is big. You think that's the last resignation? There are more resignations to come, guys. No, this is not being done by, oh yeah, this is the way we clear everything, just blow everything out of the way. No, I don't see, okay, there's may he not run for re-election? Yeah, he may not run for re-election, Biden, and that's a possibility over this. But then who's going to run in his place? And everybody keeps talking about Governor Newsom. Frankly, I don't think he's running. You have to announce your intentions by May or June. Whoever's going to be running for president. If you start in the fall, you don't have time to put an infrastructure in place because it's a year from the election. And the first primary debates typically are scheduled by fall. They start in like August, September. So, we'll know, within 5 months, but other than Joe Manchin, who kind of dropped some hints that he may be considering a run, there's no indication that Newsom's running. Plus, I don't think a California Democrat is going to play very well in the Midwest. So, and he won't play well in the South. So I just don't see that as a possibility. I'm one of the people that really don't think Newsom's going to end up running this term. I think we're going to see Newsom versus DeSantis in 2028. I think that's a distinct, very strong possibility. I think that's what everybody's waiting for. I think DeSantis is going to wait till 2028, frankly. And I know some of you may disagree with me on that. That's fine. But we'll know in about 5 or 6 months, won't we? I mean, we really will. And I think this is going to get down to Trump v. Biden 2.0. That's what I think this is going towards. The question is whether or not Biden actually does consider running. Now, I brought up a moment ago the resignation. It's a distinct possibility. Here's the deal with that. Here's the deal. Sound familiar? It's all going to get down to what Senate Democrats do. They're already starting to sound like they're for the investigations. If Senate Democrats turn out to be like Republicans did in 74, Senate Republicans in 74, and they start breaking ranks, and we're not talking about like Joe Manchin, we're talking in cinema. You have to have like several Democrats, breaking ranks. That's how bad things have gotten, and this may take months to get there. Then Joe Biden may consider seriously not running. Even if he's announced he's running, he may just drop out, which will create chaos and essentially this vacuum in the Democratic Party as they scramble for a nominee. And that's why I posted on my Telegram channels, both my premium one and as well as my public one, this hypothesis, this fantasy, if you would, the undiscovered country, I called it, where possibly Harris resigns for personal reasons. That's always been a distinct possibility going back to 2021. She's a very unpopular vice president. She's a terrible vice president. She's not liked. Nobody likes her. Democrats don't like her. Zero people like her around. Her own people working with her don't like her. I always felt like she may just either not be the nominee because Joe may pick somebody else in 2024 or for vice president, or she may just resign early. And if she does, and then Joe Biden is faced with this terrific onslaught of resignation, starting with his chief of staff and going on down, it could be the Democrats' bench is so thin that they turn to someone like Mayor Pete to be the nominee. Sure, they could draft Newsom, but I don't seriously think he wants to do it this time around. And because frankly, I think everybody's looking that the opponent's going to be Donald Trump, and it's going to be a bad year for Democrats, certainly Senate Democrats, which, by the way, the Democrats in the Senate, I didn't feel that confident about 2022 Republicans taking the Senate because the numbers were against them. Yeah, I mean, 1 or 2 races were really good chances, but the fact that the Republicans were defending 2/3 of the seats and there weren't many opportunities for picking off Democrats, it's really 2024 where the Democrats are defending, I think, 22 or 23 seats. The Republicans have like 7 or 8 they're defending, and they're all in Trump states. They're all safe Republican seats. The Democrats are defending about a little under a half a dozen in Trump states. It's going to be a bloodbath, politically speaking, in the Senate for Senate Democrats in 2024. And that's the presidential year, and Trump's going to be on the ticket, which means you're going to end up with like 15 to 20 million more Republicans going and voting. They sat home in November. That's okay. People do that. It's not okay, but people do that. Just so you know, midterms are always lower turnout for both parties. Every election is that way. So you really are going to have this massive onslaught of Republicans turning out that didn't turn out in 2022. So I think if you're looking at this and you're a Democrat and you're a Republican like DeSantis, you don't want to go up against Trump. Like, why would you want to do that? Right? Now, I'm just talking this out, guys. And if you're enjoying it, thumbs up, give me a comment. I love comments. So leave me a comment. And thank you. I try to read them all. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I can't get to every one of them, but definitely leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. And subscribe to the channel because it's organic. Everything I do is organic. And subscribe to the channel. We beat the big tech algorithms that way. So, I mean, make sure you thumbs up and leave a comment and subscribe. But getting back to it, I really think that at the end of the day, all this hyperbole is going to die away, and it comes down to this. Really, the question is whether or not Biden, first of all, physically, I wish him well, but, he may or may not feel like he can do it, or more likely right now, what's happening is he may start seriously contemplating not running. Even if he announces initially, let's say in the next few months he's running, and then he has to turn around because the scandal keeps growing. Now, these investigations that the Department of Justice are doing, frankly, I think that these investigations are going to go on for 2 years. Some people said to me, well, Max, do you think that they're going to try to take both Biden and Trump out? And I'm like, that makes no sense. These investigations are going to go on beyond November 2024. I think everybody should know that. Like, we're not going. These are Mueller-style investigations. They are not going to be complete. If they're completed before November 2024, I will be shocked. And there is no way at this point, because of Bidengate or DocuGate, that they're going to complete the Trump investigation before Mar-a-Lago, before the Biden one. They may, because they'll say, well, it was a smaller amount and everything like that. But it's very unlikely that, given the political sensitivity of it, that they're going to release any results, especially given what the Mueller investigation, not the Mueller investigation, I'm sorry, but the what was it with Hillary Clinton's servers? The Hillary Clinton investigation into her servers back in, was it 2016? Remember when they released the results just before the election? They took a lot of heat for that. I don't think you're going to see anything like that, frankly, before the election. I don't think there's going to be any October surprise regarding this. I think these things are going to go on into 2025. And then they'll release some probably they'll release the fines jointly, and they'll have similar results and recommendations. But that's from the agencies themselves. Back to the Republicans. Should they have their own investigation? Sure, if they can fit it in the schedule. But I'm more interested in going after the administration, starting with the Department of Homeland Security, with the chief on down in the border crisis. I think we should impeach the Secretary of Homeland Security, frankly. There's a lot. We should start there. And that's what I'm kind of supportive of and focused on. I want to get into those investigations, into what they've been doing, which I think is criminal and a dereliction of duty and a violation of their oath, more than I want to get into this. I think there's so much of this coming out. Let it just keep coming out. Back to who I think's releasing it. I think it's someone who doesn't like Biden. It's someone that or believes in justice. Could be someone. It is someone at least the initial releases, the initial press leaks, was probably someone in justice, or it was someone in justice. Do I think that there's some strategy to remove Trump? And no, I don't know. All those things, every time you hear something like that, it never happens like that. No, that doesn't. That's like way too much there. I mean, you could just simply start pulling your financial support from Biden and put pressure on the administration to consider not running if you really don't want him to run. But you have to have a candidate first, and there is none. And now the people go back to, again, Governor Newsom. That's not Barack Obama waiting in the wings. Okay, guys, this is not someone who's very popular. So, this is a guy who faced a recall election for a reason. So, yeah, he's popular in the most liberal Democrat state in the country. Okay, well, go figure. And he faced a recall anyway. So, yeah, this is not somebody that you think is, oh yeah, this is fantastic. What, they got Harris? Did you see the latest polls? I mean, and you can take this with a grain of salt, but my goodness, again, Trump's beating her by 8 points nationally. He's like sitting around. He's nearing 50% against Harris, which means if you count in polls always undercut Republican support, he's probably at 52% in that poll. And again, this is the post 2020 and 2022 era where pollsters really don't know what they're doing. So take it with a grain of salt. Still, these are left-wing polls. So, I think that no, that's not going to happen. I mean, there's other, and I did post about this on the Fortress Maximus Premium. And if you're not a member of Maximus Premium, contact Roxy and join it, because this is where I post most of all the juicy stuff that, not all of it, but most of it. And you definitely want to join. So contact Roxy Balboa, the number 1 at gmail.com. Link is in the description. All the info is in the description below. Click it. But there was a report I read earlier today that some email that Hunter Biden, oh, I said the name there, Hunter Biden. Oh, well, had with one of his friends a while back. I think it was like in 2014 or 15 or something, referencing some deal with Ukraine. This speculation that the info that he was passing on, which is stolen info, originated from Joe Biden. Well, there's no speculation it did originate from Joe Biden, but it's a question as to whether it was in the documents. We don't know. You have to see the documents. And I think for that reason, though, the House should subpoena copies of the documents, unredacted, and maybe I'm not unsupportive of a House investigation. But I think, frankly, the sheer magnitude of this investigation, there's so much more to come out. And we have so many other investigations that we need to really, like, let's pick our battles here. We could start, let's let the press and let's let the and we're talking the MSM is starting to bail on him, and you know, well, they did, you know, it's funny, guys, the MSM bailed on Jimmy Carter in 1980. You know, that may seem kind of awkward, but they did that. They bailed on him after the disastrous 2 years he had, last 2 years as president. And so many different problems were erupting. And I mean, his numbers started to collapse. They do that sometimes. And, you know, you've got the right-wing press doing the same thing. Let's let it all play out. Let's see where it shakes. I don't know at the end of the day if he's going to resign. I don't believe that. I think he may not run as a result of it. If he runs with this hanging over him, the House should definitely open up an impeachment inquiry after they've conducted their own investigation later this year, maybe early 2024. That would be good. And I think the strategy with the Republicans is you really want to see what happens here. And then you want to see, okay, we've got an election coming up. Let's see where things are at 6 months from now, 12 months from now, plenty of time to start an impeachment inquiry. Think about it. This is such a big scandal. It only grows. We get to 2024. We decide, let's go ahead. Let's start an impeachment inquiry. That'll lead to an impeachment of the president right when in the middle of his re-election campaign. Given his dislike with the majority of Americans, this would only enhance it. And it would give a lot of fodder to the right and to Donald Trump on the campaign. Be very unique circumstance because the Democrats would be defending in an impeachment trial in the Senate and also dealing with the forthcoming revelations from the Department of Justice into their investigations and dealing with the campaign that they are up against Schiff's Creek, and they're up against the strongest Republican candidate since Ronald Reagan, bar none. And that is all I have to say on that. I hope this kind of gave you some clarity on how I'm thinking about it, but I think we're definitely in the early stages. We have to see how things work out. In the meantime, let me tell you, I have a new seminar coming up, Civics Maximus 501, Socialism versus Capitalism. Many of you have requested it, so I decided to go ahead and do it. It's at the ending of February. If you're interested in attending that, contact any of the angels or warriors. Those are my assistants, and ask them to sign you up for that. You're going to enjoy that. We're going to be talking about the horrors of socialism and how it leads to communism and the blessings of capitalism. But we're going to be going into a lot of details and talking about how the indoctrination of our children is going about in the schools. I'll be talking about tactics and how to debate socialists, how to confront teachers that are clearly been brainwashed by socialism, and the cultural Marxism that they're using to bring about world socialism is exactly what we're dealing with. So I'll be discussing all of these things, and we'll be getting into some debates, and it's going to be a great Socratic discussion for a couple of days. So definitely contact the Angels and Warriors, ask them for details on that, and sign up for Maximus Premium. You'd enjoy it. I'm telling you, it's extremely successful. So is the newsletter, which is very, very, very successful as well. So definitely want to sign up for that. It's delivered to your email box And contact Roxy about those. It's roxybalboa1@gmail.com. If you want to support my work, you can do so at my PayPal, or you can do it on Venmo. Links are in the description. I would appreciate that. Anyways, God bless yous all. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the week. I hope I see you online soon. And thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. God bless yous all. And remember, we're going to win this thing. We're going to win it. I have no doubt in my mind. Ciao.